All right, welcome to the Let It Fly show. My name is Michael Severe, joined by Josh Jones.
Back, baby.
Omaha Central, Creighton as well. We are live at the Let It Fly Sports Bar. It's going to be a good show.
Yeah.
Because we get a chance to chat with a former Husker and Omaha Central assistant head coach, Abdul Muhammad. Looking forward to talking to him.
Yeah.
A lot of that, what is it, how's it go again? Like
Just
this,
like
right?
this.
They've been doing this, my
Just like
kids,
this.
on pictures in Switzerland, in front of the Matterhorn, in front of the Eiffel Tower.
Eagles fly high.
They fly high, no doubt about that. Inside this sports bar is a place to come. Elevated food, elevated experience, everything. Great drinks and everything here at Let It Fly Sports Bar in the Capital District. I want to remind you as well, all day, every day during the week, you got specials.
Yep.
Come on here and get your wing special on Wednesdays. We came in here on Tuesday a couple weeks ago, one of my guests. You left.
Yeah.
He got into Taco Tuesday. He crushed 4 tacos. Robin Walsh crushed 4 tacos on Taco Tuesday. So a lot of specials going on as well, drink specials as well. And thank you to Bud Light, who always makes it
easy.
They make it easy to drink and easy to enjoy, no matter what you're doing.
Man, we got shit to talk about.
They got look at you over there cursing. Not gonna get in trouble, are we?
Nah, man, we good.
Because we grown ass men.
Right.
That's why we ain't getting in trouble.
Hopefully your first headline is Bud and Canelo.
No, that was the headline last week.
But it's back again.
Because we know
you see
now.
The push? You see
that
the
was.
push?
I think I don't ever want to say that anything's manufactured, but so they had the dinner together, right? Yeah. They had the dinner together, and a lot of people were mad about it. They're like, why are you having them have dinner together? I know. Why are you having them have dinner together? You know, it doesn't make sense. So then the next day, they have that meeting, and all of a sudden they start jawing. Yeah. I think it was a little manufactured.
Well,
I think it was a little manufactured.
I look at it like this. This is me.
Because that's never been Canelo. He's never been that kind of dude.
Bud
don't do that either.
He can holler at me when he see me.
Yeah.
I think that Bud was keeping it business as professional as possible.
Yeah.
And then he got on social media and was like, man, all these people think I'm a bitch.
Yep.
Man.
Yep.
And so Bud had to show him where he was from.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
he said, remember that push. I think he did a little sissy ass push. I think he said, remember that.
So Bud really wasn't doing nothing but letting them know it. Like, hey, it's like that.
Yeah.
I get active.
Yeah.
But I think
they were, because that's a lot of times what happens in those situations is that it's a little bit of manufactured. You want to get people excited about it. And I think that picture of them having dinner together made a lot of people go, oh, look at these people. They were fighting. They're going to win, try for a championship, and they eating dinner together.
Yeah.
And so they like, we take care of that.
Yeah, I respect Bud, though, because, like, he trying to make sure the narrative ain't, I'm just a challenger. Oh, no. I'm the best fighter in the world.
No. He's a champion.
Yeah.
Canelo's a champion. It's 2 champions getting together, like in the old days.
Yeah. Aside from him being a champion, though, I think he got a legit chance.
Oh, I don't. I told you, just keep making that number go up higher. Give me more plus money. I got no problem putting it. I got no problem putting it on Bud whatsoever. I'm with you on that. I love that it's on Netflix, so it's free for everybody, and it's going to be an incredible fight night. It is 81 days as of this taping. When this comes out tomorrow, it'll be 80 days away. Until they meet.
When you put it like that, that's close.
80 days is nothing.
That's nothing.
And you know, summer flies by.
No, bro.
Summer flies by. Again, I want to mention that our guest this week, Omaha Central assistant head coach and former Husker, Abdul Muhammad. He'll be joining us coming up. But let's, as you said, get to headlines. The first one, we start with Husker stuff.
For sure.
So this was a big beginning of the week for Huskers.
Yeah, okay.
One, they got their brand new play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
Plus.
Who is it?
So his name is, and he's from Florida. His name is Kyle Krooks.
All right.
What's
his resume?
He's taken over play-by-play announcer, calling Husker games. He will call the football games.
All right.
He will co-host Husker Sports Nightly. He will do a bunch of other stuff as well. Of course,
is he going to mix with you at all?
No. He'll be working with Damon.
Word.
Damon will be his color guy. He spent 8 years at Florida.
Okay.
So he called men's and women's basketball, softball, soccer, baseball. He also did the pregame show for football. He's done a little bit of everything. He matter of fact, he was here. He wasn't here, but he was in Oklahoma City when the Florida team went to the College World Series for softball. He was there for that. So he'll be calling games with Damon Benning, sideline reporter Jessica Cody, and everybody will be back together starting soon. But also, Nebraska land 2 commitments out of the high school ranks. We don't talk a lot about high school recruiting anymore.
Nah.
It's always portal and transfers.
Anymore, man.
So they got a guy named Jamal Rule, no relation.
Word.
No H, just R-U-L-E like Ja Rule.
I feel you.
He averaged 176 yards rushing a game and had 16 touchdowns playing in Charlotte.
Hey, let me break this down. How does this work?
Yep.
So you got your scholarship guys.
Yep.
outside of that, you got the walk-ons and all of that.
No more walk-ons.
Yeah, so explain this to me.
So the way it works now, right now.
And why was this rule put in?
Right now, there's an exception.
Okay.
To the rule of having a limit on scholarship numbers, right?
Gotcha.
And overall numbers on the team. Back in the day, Nebraska had 140, 150 guys. It's going to eventually be 110, right? And so you're going to have to get down to that. But the judge said, no. You can't just be cutting people who thought they were going to a school and they'd be fine. So they put a grandfather clause in. So everybody before June 1st that was already on campus,
locked in.
They are locked in. So you can't cut them until they're all gone. They're not going to be getting down to that number. For Nebraska, you got 85 scholarships like you've always had.
Yep.
But you can give scholarship money to everybody up to the 105, 110.
Got you.
So what it's going to be, instead of having walk-ons, everybody's going to be receiving scholarship money. Everybody's going to be getting a little bit of the share, some more than others, and they'll be eligible for NIL too.
Okay.
Meaning, if you become a big star there, right, all of a sudden you are, and some air conditioning company comes to you and says, hey,
you can take
we want you to do a commercial for us.
You can take it.
And they can offer you a certain amount of money as long as that money isn't outrageous.
Yes.
It's got to go through the clearinghouse. And
what's outrageous? I've seen somebody get $8 million.
So that would be outrageous. $8 million is before June 1st. So now the way things are working, it's whatever is reasonable for your value. So let's put value on a guy like Dylan Raiola versus, say, the starting right tackle.
All right.
Obviously, more people know who Dylan is.
Correct.
Than the starting right tackle. So his value is going to be more. He's a quarterback. Everybody knows him in the state. So say somebody gave him an offer for a bunch of commercials and billboards for $800,000. That goes to the clearinghouse. If the clearinghouse says that's his value, fine. If not, they say no. If you go to them with just some random dude.
So you just can't work it.
You can't work under the table deals.
Not even in basketball?
Nowhere. Not anymore. So they're going to get a part of the share. Everybody's getting $20.5 million, right?
The whole team.
The whole athletic department.
Okay.
So about, say for Nebraska, for example, maybe 13 to 15 million of that goes to football.
So they're trying to put a structure behind NIL.
So let's leave NIL out of this.
All right.
This is simple cost sharing. This is profit
revenue
sharing. This is the revenue that they make.
All right.
Going back to the schools, right?
Okay.
So.
Oh, the players get a cut of that.
Oh, yeah, they get their money. So here.
Dang.
So about 70%.
Oh, yeah, I didn't.
Probably at Nebraska, about 70% will go to football. And then some will go to basketball.
That's the settlement.
That's the settlement.
I was talking to my.
Some will go to baseball. Some will go to wrestling.
I was talking to my lawyer. And he said, hey, man, I got to check the date, man. You might be eligible again.
Yes.
For some money.
There is a chance.
I missed it by 24. It was like 2016 or something.
Yeah. So that's part of the settlement.
That's what that is.
That's paying back as part of the court cases that happen. This is saying now, what we're going to do is we're going to take the money that is being earned, instead of just giving it all to the school, we're going to give it to the players. So it's going to cover your scholarship.
Okay.
And it's going to cover however value you are in the school.
So essentially, I got two questions for you. So essentially, every player will get some type of compensation for being on the team.
At least a scholarship, of course, but a little extra money. Remember now, they already get a stipend.
Yes.
They already get a housing stipend.
Oh, okay.
And then they also get their scholarship.
All right.
So on top of that, they'll have money to be able to distribute to bring kids here to the school.
So now let's talk NIL.
So NIL is separate. Like I said, the NIL will be for broker deals that actually are something for your name, image, and likeness. Okay. And if you put a deal together and it's the correct value according to the clearinghouse, you'll get that money. If it's not, they'll say they'll reject it.
All right, so they can.
And we're going to see how that works.
So that's the compliance side.
It's going to be really hard to do. Because to be able to put a value on what a guy means here in the state of Nebraska, where there's no other pro sports, compared to a guy who's maybe at USC, when he's competing in the market with the Dodgers and the Lakers and all that, that's going to be different. So to be able to judge what matters at Nebraska opposed to what matters at Florida, or what matters at Texas, is going to be difficult to do.
Gotcha.
We'll see how it works.
All right, you answered that. That was eloquent.
So
we got to cut that clip.
Why? So running back out of Charlotte, Jamal Rule.
Okay.
And then also they're bringing in a corner who is 6'2", 180 pounds. Now, he's out of Orlando. Yes.
A running back.
Well, remember, this is 2026. So this is 2026.
Okay.
Yes. So he'll be the next signing period next February.
I dig it.
And then he'll come, He'll sign early in December, and then he'll probably, depending on if he decides to come early, will come and start right after that.
All right.
But those two guys, big. One's a 4-star, the other's a 3-star. Nebraska very excited about getting those guys along with the new play-by-play guy. Right. And then, as you mentioned, Josh had it. Game 7, it's where the series went. Oklahoma City Thunder, Indiana Pacers. I thought it'd be done in 6. I still think that somebody called up when it was 12-2 and said, listen, we need to get this to Game 7. And then Oklahoma City proceeded to play the worst defense. I watched them play all year. Yeah. But then it goes to a Game 7. And as exciting as excited people are for the Thunder winning, it's depressing because when you have a guy get hurt, when you have a guy go down like that, and by the way, from what I understand, everybody loves Tyrese Halliburton. Yeah. He's like beloved.
They just hate on him.
But he among the players, it seems like he's beloved.
The players.
It seems like he's beloved, right?
So
for a guy like that to go down, it takes away a lot of the shine.
It does.
I'm happy for Oklahoma City.
No doubt.
Their first championship there in Oklahoma. Of course, they won back with Seattle years ago, the same franchise. But
what was the viewership on that?
Actually, it was up for Game 7. It was like 7.5 million.
Okay.
So whatever the number was, it was actually pretty good compared to the rest of the series.
Right.
But if you look at it compared to what the final were for Florida and
that shit.
Who Florida built?
Not Auburn.
Who they beat for champion? I can't remember now.
I'm sorry. I'm going to remember.
So Florida,
maybe
that game got like twice as much as that. But it's the NBA, and there's not a lot of storylines.
Yeah.
Not a lot of storylines, but sad story for Halliburton getting hurt like that.
But I think
he'll miss the entire season.
I think it's the shoes. This culture is big on mid-top, low-top.
No, so this is what happened. And this almost happened to me at one point.
Theory.
So he strained his calf.
Okay.
Right?
In the past.
He had tendonitis in his Achilles.
Okay.
Which led to him straining his calf. At that point, traditionally, you would shut him down. He wouldn't play for 3 or 4 months.
Dang.
But because it was the finals, he's like, I got to go play for my team.
Fair.
And that's when it tore. Right? I mean, he could have easily gotten through that.
Yeah.
He could have gotten through that game and then had the whole off season to recover. But obviously 7 minutes into the first quarter.
That was the plan.
They thought. But normally he would have set out. If you remember way back when Durant got hurt, Durant set out for like 2 months with the exact same thing and then came back for the playoffs and got hurt. Yeah. So, by the way, 3 guys in the playoffs tore their Achilles.
I know. Tatum.
You got Tatum. Halliburton.
Who's the third?
And you got Dame.
Oh, damn.
What is the similarity between Dame Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton, and Boston and Tatum?
They're all number 0.
There you go. How crazy is that?
That's weird too.
How crazy is that?
Low tops.
That's in the low tops. We come back. We'll chat with Abdul Muhammad, of course, former wingback for Nebraska and assistant head coach at Omaha Central, right here on Let It Fly Show. All right, welcome back to Let It Fly Show. We are joined by Omaha Central assistant head coach and former wingback for the University of Nebraska Cornhuskers, Abdul Muhammad. Wingback don't even exist anymore, man.
No.
We don't call nobody a wingback anymore.
What's the definition of a wingback?
So I have to say this first.
Okay. All right.
That Johnny Rogers, the greatest wingback to ever play in Nebraska. Then you have Irvin Fryer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the two dominant wingbacks.
Right.
Wingback, slot, same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coach Osborne just had a way around doing things his way.
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
Yeah. Way back when Irvin Fryer used to put a hand on the ground like he was in a track stance to go out as a wide receiver.
Well, I hate to tell you this. I was doing that my first year. We were still doing that. So my son went back and watched.
Yeah.
And he said, man, y'all played some terrible football.
That's funny, though.
Well, think about this. No one could really bump you in that position. If they tried to bump you, that would be weird.
I tell you this. There wasn't colleges during that time really bumping.
Wow.
When they started, you had to get up.
Yeah.
That was it.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're on the ground. He's in press. You got to come up.
Right.
You can't win.
No.
You couldn't win. And so that ended the 3-point stand stuff at Nebraska.
Wow.
Yeah. But my first year, we were in 3-point stance.
Still in 3-point stance.
Correct.
What's some of your fondest memories or stories, your go-to story that you can tell about your days when you was back in Nebraska?
Winning. Always winning.
Wow.
I always lead with that, like the championship years, being on winning teams.
Yeah.
Man, because I've been a part of winning since youth football.
Yeah.
Right? So
Man.
I won.
Yeah.
I just
2 high school
all the teams
championships.
had the same
Right.
characteristics, like
Yeah.
mentally tough,
Yeah.
physical,
Yeah.
Relatable,
Yeah.
got along, culture great. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It was just all those same things was on
Yeah.
every team that I won a state championship or youth championship.
Yeah.
Had those same characteristics.
Dang.
Abdul
Yeah.
Muhammad joining us here on the Let It
Yeah.
Fly show. Let's go back. Kid comes from Compton to Lincoln, Nebraska. There are different places. There's Venus and there's Mars. What was that like
further than
to
that?
come from Compton to Lincoln in the early 90s, too?
Well, I tell you what, it kind of shocked me
I bet.
when I first came on a visit because I seen some things that I wasn't expecting. Every time I watch games growing up, I'm a huge Husker fan. So I've been watching Huskers since 7
No doubt.
years old.
Yeah.
Right? And so it was always corn, always fields.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I was expecting to see
Yeah.
when I came on my
You
trip.
went
But
much
then
into
I
the-
go in the city, I'm like,
Yeah.
Wait a
You went
minute.
to North
Where's
Omaha.
Lauren?
I'm like, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
They've been lying to me
Yeah.
with the TV.
No doubt.
Yeah, and so I was happy to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then got homesick, and then I started coming to Omaha with Tony Veland.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when
Vincent Bunny.
I felt at home.
So that's
Okay.
your boy, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, all
So
right.
we started coming to game. I went to a couple. That's when Bell West and when Benson,
Yeah.
Woolridge and
Woolridge
Strickland.
I
was
know.
at that game.
Oh,
Right?
man.
So I got to see
Wow.
that and was like,
the
"Ooh."
culture.
Yeah, we had to get let in. The game was packed.
Dang.
When we got there, it was
You
sold
seen
out.
that live.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
Yeah.
I came with Tony Veland.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He never told me that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm coming back.
That was my guy. Yeah.
I've seen Strick 2 weeks ago, and I connected with Woolridge a month ago. He gave me a shooting machine for my son.
Oh,
Tight.
nice.
And they tell me different perspectives, obviously, because they was on opposing teams, but the narrative is the same.
Yeah.
He was killing and I was killing.
That's right.
Man.
They were the guys.
Yeah.
They were the guys. You know what I mean? And so when I walked in, I wasn't expecting to walk in
Yeah.
to my first game I ever went to basketball and see a crowd like that.
Dang.
And I was like, ooh,
No doubt.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Now, obviously, it's opposite, but was there any, I'm not going to say Compton vibes, but it was just, or was it the fact that it was like a lot of us, a lot of black people there? Like, did anything remind you of home, or you were just comfortable because it,
No, it did.
it was culture?
It really
For sure.
did. It reminded me of home. When I would come to Omaha, it reminded me of home.
Dang.
And that's I used to be anytime and teammates were there, they were like, "Man, you don't watch the news? Why you going to Omaha?" I was like, "Man, that's where I came from."
Right.
I felt good.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
It's crazy to say,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Compton, yeah,
Yeah, for
it
sure.
felt good.
Yeah,
it
no
felt
doubt.
good.
No
Cookouts
doubt.
from Compton to West Chester, Pennsylvania. Cookouts all the same. Cookouts, there's no difference. You can't tell unless somebody told you where you were living. You wouldn't
I don't
know.
know about that, but
I mean, the food's better where I'm from in New Orleans, but in general,
Yeah.
the music's playing,
man.
everybody's kind
Yeah,
of
for
grooving.
sure.
That's correct.
You know,
That's correct.
hopefully
Sure.
the potato salad's
Culture
good.
is culture.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
No
yeah.
doubt.
It
Let me,
is.
so let me ask you
No
this,
doubt.
because
No doubt.
one of the tough things about coming to a place like Nebraska, especially back then, and it's still a little bit now, there is kind of a xenophobia about, we're the best here, this is America. With a kid like Abdul Muhammad, did you get any kind of flack at all? Did anybody say anything to you with a name like that?
No,
No, really?
not at all, man.
That's good.
I'll tell you a crazy story, man. I go out for the first time, me, Troy Dumas, Clester Johnson,
Yeah.
guys in my class, and we had a house party. And I'm sitting in a comfortable chair, chilling, and it's a guy, like, looking at me. Like, I'm just looking at me. And I'm like, man, who's this dude? I don't even know this dude. And so I'm like, man, is he look? And he's looking. So I get up.
Yeah.
I go over there. I'm like, hey, man, you know
You
me?
good? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and the guy say, Abdul Muhammad. And I say, yeah, that's my name. Then he ran off my high school stats.
Wow.
And he said, happy
He's
to
a
have
Husker
you here.
fan.
That's
He a
Nebraska
Husker
fan.
fan.
That's Nebraska.
That's how they are
And
to
I
this
was
day.
like,
That's like
ooh.
Nebraska
To this
fan.
day.
Yeah.
That's a Husker fan for
We
you.
still talk.
Really?
Wow.
We still talk. Look, he in Arizona, man. We start. So
Yeah.
on Sundays after the games,
No doubt.
me and him would get together, go
Yeah.
watch NFL, man,
Nice.
talk, and
Yeah.
and we still talk to
Lifelong
this day.
friend.
That's the most classic
That's such a Husker fan.
representation of a Husker fan in Nebraska.
Yeah,
Like when it comes to the state of Nebraska, they know they people.
they know.
They know who their heroes.
They know.
That's powerful.
Yeah. No, I was shook.
Yeah.
I was sitting back there like, man, this is crazy, dude.
That is crazy.
I hadn't even been to a practice yet. Like,
Wow.
we was there
He just
early.
knew you as a recruit.
Yeah.
He probably had that
Yeah.
old-fashioned Husker Illustrated. He going through that.
Man,
Yeah.
they knew, like they said, this dude
Man.
supposed to be the man.
That's nice.
Yes.
That hit home for me.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I reflect as just a former Creighton basketball
That's
player.
correct.
And they be running them off.
Yeah.
3 times. Like, no, that stuff.
They know you. They know your
Yeah,
background,
that's
your
right.
history. Correct.
Yeah. I love Nebraska for that.
So back in the day, we had a rocket and a missile for the Ismails. You were the little rocket. Did that have anything to do with the rocket, or where'd that nickname come from?
Yeah, because I was one of the top return guys in the state. Myself, Napoleon Kaufman.
Oh, damn.
He played at Line Park.
Oh, yeah.
But we were like the top 2
Dang.
guys. Like, if you kick it to him, man, you just gonna
You
be
might as
trouble.
well be
Right,
trucking.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so Rocket was doing that on the college
At
stage.
Notre Dame. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
correct. And so, guys just at my high school just
Wow.
started calling me that.
Little rocket.
Little Rocket.
Yeah. And I wore 25 in high school.
No doubt.
Okay, you
That's
go.
correct.
Yeah.
Same
Was,
number,
was Rocket the inspiration, though?
No, not at all.
Dang,
not
just
at all,
coincidence.
man. All my inspiration at that time was Husker players. You know what I'm saying? Mike Rozier,
Yeah.
Irvin Fryer,
Yeah.
Turner Gill.
And I mean, you naming
Yeah.
people who went top in the draft.
That's right.
So yeah, I can
So
get that.
when I fell in love with
Yeah.
football, that was it.
Dang.
The scoring explosion, 70 points a game. I'm
Yeah.
watching.
To this day, I
Yeah.
still can't fathom that.
I'm watching. That's right. That's right.
Can't fathom that.
Yeah.
No doubt
Yeah.
about that. Abdul Muhammad joining us
Dang.
here on Let It Fly show. Before we get to talking a little bit more about Central, I'm interested in being a freshman coming to Nebraska and actually playing, because there was a tradition forever where freshmen didn't play. You had 3 from your class that actually played as freshmen. Talk about you coming in and earning a spot.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone about that yesterday. That was the first year that Osborne understood and got tired of losing,
Oh, yeah.
so to say.
Well, that was after Georgia Tech. Like, they got beat
It was
30
three.
to
I
nothing.
think it was
Yeah.
3 straight
Would
blowouts.
you say
Losing
Miami,
just
Georgia Tech,
relying
yeah.
on like seniority or the guys.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah, okay.
being that you had to be in the program and kind of earn your way around. 91, when we came in, you seen that, guys that could play had started being on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, things changed.
Regardless.
Yeah.
That's when it really changed. People
Yeah.
think it
That makes
happened in
sense.
93.
Yeah.
But in 91, that was the first change.
Yeah.
Like he said, 3 guys, we came in playing, actually started 2 games.
Right.
Right? And I told people, when Nebraska, why you going to Nebraska? People still ask me that. Why'd you go to Nebraska?
Dang.
You had offers from
And-
USC.
USC, Miami.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Could've
I
stayed
could
at
have went
home, yeah.
anywhere, basically.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to be a Husker, and I knew at that time, I was like, man, I don't care where I go. If it's fair, I'm playing.
No
like,
doubt.
that's what I felt about myself.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And my ability. Like,
Yeah.
I'm playing in California.
Yes.
Everything. And so
Yeah.
if I could do it there, I know I can do it.
Anywhere,
Yeah.
no doubt.
And so when I got to Nebraska, when I came on my visit, and
Yeah.
I asked Coach Brown, how many receivers, wingbacks, y'all take on trips, and he said 3 and 3. I knew I was playing in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
came in with that attitude, like,
Yeah.
I'm going to make them play me.
Would
Yeah.
you compare the Huskers of that generation, and even with you included, to like a last decade's Alabama when it comes to prestige of winning? And because remember the time for a few, it got to be at least 7-8 years where Alabama was just always.
In the mix.
Yeah, sure.
Was Nebraska like that? I mean, I know there was the title runs, but I'm saying as a program, what can you compare it to that are new listeners or people who don't remember the time like we do? What era or program or team?
I compare it more to the USC runs with Pete Carroll.
Yeah, Pete Carroll.
Because there were tough teams
Yeah.
back then.
Right.
And the competition was all over the country.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, Alabama. Like, Alabama was number 1 for about 5-6 years.
But they were top heavy with recruiting.
with recruiting. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See, that's why I said
Yeah.
USC.
Yeah, okay.
It wasn't like that.
No
In
doubt.
USC, you had Pete Carroll.
Yep.
heck of a coach.
Yep.
Had some good players come in with Bush and those guys.
Yep.
Just like us, and got coached
Coach well.
to that to that point to where you went in back to back.
College football was good in that USC
that's
era.
right, because you really didn't know. With the runs of Alabama, it was like, we know Alabama going to win. They got the best players at every position. And
For sure. Dang. That's a good comparison.
Yeah. And those coaches were you had to go win.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to go win.
Dang.
One of my favorite things they do, that group, was I'm a 91 guy. They were better. I'm a 92 guy. We were better. 93 guy. I love that whole thing. So what was the group? 'Cause I remember talking to Clester Johnson about that one time, and it was a heated argument between him and a couple other dudes about like which was the best class. What got you guys eventually over the top? Which class?
That's why y'all was winning. Y'all arguing who was better within yourself.
I would say personally, it was our class because the mindset that we came in.
And this is
with,
unbiasedly, though.
This is unbiasedly.
Okay.
And I'm going to say this because the class I would say that started it was the class before us, too, because they had the linemen. With Zach Weger, Brandon Stein. You know, they came in with the pipeline. You know, but then you got these other guys. Like, we wasn't – when we met – crazy story. When we met in the Cook Pavilion, that was the indoor facility back then.
Okay.
The first day when we had testing, the 40s, the 10 300 shuttle.
For sure.
We decided then that we leaving with 2 championships. It was said amongst us then we leaving with 2 national championships.
Wow.
And it was said because I just come off a high school championship. Dwayne Harris come off of high schools. We had like 5 guys that won state championships in my class.
Wow.
So we wasn't leaving without one.
Right.
And
that
we set that and we showed it. Because if you look and you were on the inside back then and you came to some of them bowl games like Miami, them guys were like bullies too. You know, people talk about the speed and all that, but they bullied a lot of guys in 91.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I seen it and I'm like, man, these dudes. Right. And so we couldn't wait to be the upperclassmen.
Oh,
we stopping all
for sure.
that. Right. Stay on your side of the 50 in pregame.
No doubt.
If you come over here, it's going to be a lot of suspensions.
Right.
Just like that.
Right.
It got to that point.
Right.
Yeah.
And so my class was a part of that.
Yeah.
We not taking the nonsense no more. I don't care.
That. Yeah.
We'll shut this thing down.
No doubt.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we changed that.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you think?
By the way, his freshman class would have had 2 if Byron Bennett would have made a field goal.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And a lot of them did get 2, the ones that
redshirted guys.
That's correct.
Man.
Byron Bennett.
My question was,
I was rushed. I had too much time.
How do you think? So there's a big generational gap. This it's a generation before me, and then it's my generation, and then it's a generation under that, and they are the leaders of what's today. The kids today don't even know about essentially even what they know what I did to a degree, but like, how do you correlate the energy and the experiences that you had to the youth you have now that you coach on whatever level, whether it's pee-wee up to high school? Like, how do you keep that winning culture and being part of things that are not as successful as what you experience and maintain that standard?
Yeah, that's tough. But one of the things that, you know, I'm proud, first of all, I know we're going to talk about this, to be back at Omaha Central, where what you talking about, Josh, I've been all over the country, man. Played in California, you know, then talked to coaches from Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, through 707, coaches that I coach with. And I'm telling you now, man, there's no foundation like Omaha Central's. I'm standing on that.
Dang.
The backing, and the people that graduated from that high school, and the positions that they put themselves in, and how they able to help the kids, just not at Central, but the state of Nebraska.
No doubt.
Talking about the Buffett scholarships and all that stuff.
No doubt.
That's one of the ways. I always relate to the kids at Central where they at. and who done walked through these doors.
Yeah. That's true.
I ain't even got the Gale Sayers and the Mon Green and,
I know.
and the Josh Joneses and all them guys that done won 4 and 5 state championships.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about economics now.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah, it's excellence overall.
Putting yourself in a better position.
For sure.
When you get out of high school.
When Colin Haney came in here, that kid rattled off all the 1,000-yard rushers. You don't get that a lot.
I know. I was like, dang.
I want to be among these people.
I was like,
they don't, when you walk in there, you guys that's all back high.
I know.
It says it. Yeah. There's pictures with stats.
I know.
Yep.
Right? So with him being a high back, a heavily recruited high back, like they were, I got to know what's going on.
I love that.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I come into Central and I want to play basketball, I got to know what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
I need to learn my history.
I agree.
You just ain't you're not at no regular place.
Yeah, no, I agree.
What did that 1 year do for you as undergraduate assistant under Tom Osborne in 95 year? Because you saw one of the greatest teams of all time. But what did that mean for you in terms of choosing what you wanted to do for your future?
That was huge because that was when I knew that. So I come in playing as a freshman.
Yep.
And if you watch those games, you know, we used to have to run the plays on the field. And so at that time, you know, people would look at me like we'd always send two out. You know, the guy I'm standing next to Coach Osborne, he'd be like, you get it, because they know I can remember that whole play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm taking plays in as a true freshman.
Wow.
Right? I'm running plays in. Coach Osborne seen that. And he said, man, this dude will be, you know. So he had asked me. I was going to class one day, still working on my education, about to trying to graduate, which I did. And so he stopped me. Yeah. And he asked me about coaching. Yeah. And I said, man, let me go to class coaching. You know, I'll let you know in a couple of days.
Did you ever think about coaching before that conversation?
No. Wow. Not at all.
Yeah.
So I'm walking. And I said, man, Tommy Frazier back, Lawrence back, some of the linemen back. Yeah. I said, man,
we got a chance for a ship. Class.
I said, you know what? Yep. I went right back at the class and said,
no
Coach,
doubt.
I'm gonna get another ring.
I'm here.
No doubt.
And then he said,
that's crazy.
I'll see you tomorrow at 5 a.m.
You didn't know. You didn't know. Yeah.
I said, I said, so, man, that really showed me
the work.
The work.
Yeah. The work.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Dang.
Man, when they say if you want to win, you have to put in the work.
Yeah. Amen.
It starts with the coaches.
He got me fired up, bro.
Dude, the answer to every I tell this kids all the time. The answer to every question is get up earlier.
Amen.
Yeah.
Get up earlier.
Yeah.
I couldn't get up earlier.
Man, I said
I couldn't
5.
get up earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we meeting and breaking and they wide awake. You know, I'm stumbling in.
Yeah.
You know, they wide awake and I'm like, man, this is something.
Dang.
Like this is how it happened.
Yeah.
This is how it happened.
Yep. Yeah.
You know
and you was just a part of it as a player, but you didn't see what they was doing.
They were already there when he got in.
I never even thought about it.
Yeah, me either.
I know they meet,
until I got to the other side.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
My story to that is we lost a game playing at Creighton. Straight off the plane, we had practice like 9 a.m., but Coach Altman didn't go home. I mean, we got in at like 4, and like I just asked him, I was like, damn, man, you get some sleep? You tripping? You know, just being funny. Yeah. He was like, nah, man, we got to make sure that you can take a charge. you know? So they didn't go home. So I get that. Yeah. What it takes to win, man. Yeah.
Sundays.
He used to rag on me, bro. Yeah.
Your Sundays is done.
Yeah.
Sundays
and that's
done.
why I can commend the wives and the families.
Correct.
Because
there's some work that needs to be
huge part of it. Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. See, I didn't even know this part that you asked him about the coach. Like I knew you coach, but I didn't know like you was in there.
Like I was on the staff. Like Coach Brown literally said, "I'll take the split ends.
You take
ends. You got the wing backs."
That's crazy.
It's hard. It's hard when you're done playing that particular sport. What am I doing next? Because there's nothing in the world like putting a helmet on and shoulder pads on and going to play football. Yeah. And there's nothing to substitute it. But coaching is as close as you can get.
Yes.
So you were lucky to find that.
Yeah.
Definitely were.
And I was happy he asked.
So I'm really glad you guys are at Central. But your coaching journey kind of Omaha North, right? Kind of started there. And a lot of guys started there at North. What did it mean to get that break there and start there?
So George Anderson, rest in peace, a pillar at North High
GA?
School. GA, that's right.
That's my guy.
Track guy. You know, everybody knows GA.
Everybody
man.
knows
So
GA.
we lived in the same area.
Mm-hmm.
And he heard, he know me because his sons, I played with his son
Yeah.
at Nebraska. And so, boom, he's see me in the area and was, hey, man, you going to coach.
That's how he is.
Yeah, just told me I was
He
going
just
to
tell
coach.
you what
Yeah,
you
Coming down to North High with me, you going to coach.
That's how he
And
is.
That's what
That's what it was. Okay.
That's how it happened.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
that simple.
Just the
Now,
respect
and
for him.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's
Man,
correct.
I remember him.
And
too, man.
I just knew him through his son. And I didn't I wasn't hanging with him, but what's up, Coach Anderson?
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
No
I didn't
doubt.
know him as GA yet.
Right.
I didn't know him like the kids knew him.
Yeah.
Like through track
No
and all
doubt.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't even know his story.
Yeah.
But he always spoke
Yeah.
manners, polite.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's who got me.
Who
to
are
the
some
high.
who are some of the notables at North under your coaching that did something post high school?
So you had Randy Hopkins who played receiver at UNO back when UNO had the
Yeah.
program, who was big time, and Randy was one of them dudes, and it was mostly defensive guys, but not a lot of guys at that time from North were actually going, like not a lot of guys from Nebraska.
Yeah.
At that time were
That's
actually
fair.
going
That's fair.
to play football. It was
Yeah.
like maybe 4 or 5. It wasn't a
Right.
lot of guys
Yeah.
doing like now.
That wanted to go beyond.
That's correct. It was a
Yeah.
lot of guys that wanted to go beyond, but when I started coaching,
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I didn't look and be like,
Oh,
"Oh,
he's different. He's
that's
special.
correct. That's
Yeah.
correct."
Yeah.
And that was even with the teams we played against.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? You seen a couple dudes like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
okay, I can see
Yeah.
it."
No doubt.
But overall, it wasn't. It just
Yeah.
wasn't that just yet.
Yeah. So you think that, I mean, obviously being there prepared you somewhat along with Coach Osborne to be where you at, but how'd you get from there to Central? What's that journey?
So Central, I knew people from Central.
Yeah.
What's crazy is, and this is why I know it's a special place. My wife,
Yeah.
Central.
Yep.
Right. Her mom,
Yeah.
Central.
Yeah.
Auntie Central. Her cousin.
That's usually
Central.
how Central is.
But
Yeah,
let me
yeah,
tell
yeah.
you this:
We go back 1936.
all of them
Uh-huh.
have salary jobs.
And
Nobody's clocking in. That's when I knew. I said, "Move this place.
it's excellent.
Listen,
Something around
man,
it.
There's something going on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That all of them, not one might know, all of them
Right.
salary,
Right.
right? And so I wanted to get to that place,
Right.
see what was going on.
No doubt.
And so I went up there one day, Dr. Bigsby,
Yep.
showing people around.
He passionate too.
Man, he got to that wall.
yeah.
So to get to the wall.
Yeah.
And so, I'm working here.
Uh-huh.
And every year
Yeah.
we have a
Yep.
fundraiser.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we got to that wall,
Yeah.
I was seeing the people
Yeah.
that donate the money here
Right.
on the wall.
Boys and Girls Club. Yep.
There you go.
I said, ooh,
Yeah.
that really
Yeah.
did something for me.
Right.
And I said, this is a special place.
Yeah. I mean, as
This
you
is a special
as
place.
you speak to that, like, it got me thinking back on my Central career, and it is excellence beyond sport. I mean, everything's is
Yeah.
excellence. I don't know what's like. Don't get me wrong. Other schools offer programming and
Yeah.
all of that, but it's something about Central
Yeah.
where the camaraderie,
Yeah.
where people go just beyond and are connected in a different way. I wonder when that precedent was set, but it is like a network. Like, people are proud to say they're connected to Central.
That's right.
Like,
That's right.
I spoke to his sons, and then when I mentioned Central, like, it's like
Yeah.
a badge of honor.
No.
Like,
So we just coming from Denver, 707.
yeah.
We coming from Denver. Get in the hotel. We at the hotel in Denver. We walking out. We going to eat. Everybody met downstairs like 8 something. So as we walking out, I got on my Central shirt,
Yeah.
state football, the playoff appearance. Guy, Sudanese guy, older guy. Central High? Omaha?
Dang.
I said, yeah. He said, I played on the 92 championship soccer team.
Whoa.
Really?
That's cool.
Hey, man.
That's cool.
So all the players was like, man, this is something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
Central
that's
everywhere.
crazy.
Worldwide.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
immediately,
I know.
Coach Daly hits up Coach Webb, who's a soccer coach.
Right.
Tell him the dude's name. He get his info.
Yeah.
Sure enough, boom, there he is.
That is crazy.
Nice.
That's crazy.
In the same hotel.
Yeah.
Man, that come on, man.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
That's what it is, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Soccer, 92 championship, Central High School.
So
Amen.
I've watched you guys play the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. And I've always said the number one thing a coach needs to do is instill discipline. That's right. I'm a military guy. I believe in it. It's taken you a while. Do you feel the guys have gotten there now to where they understand I can't commit that 15-yard penalty? I can't do that kind of thing at the end of the game that's going to cost us.
Yes, and they showed that the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Because if they wouldn't, there would have been a lot of more instances like the Bell West game.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I really believe that, when teams know you'll do something in retaliation, that's part of the game plan.
Yeah.
They bait
Especially
you.
in football.
They bait you.
Yeah,
That's correct.
They bait you.
And so there was some of that still going on that we seen on tape. Guys walking away, or teammates grabbing them.
Nice.
Yeah. And so we seen that in that run we had where we beat 3 top 10 teams.
Yep.
Yeah.
We seen some of that on
Right.
display. And we see it now.
And they know, too, that you guys could have easily won 2 or 3 other games.
That's
Oh, my
correct.
God.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt, they should have won.
That's right.
But because of little things, and you say whatever you want with that Bell West game, I've been watching football. I'm be 56 tomorrow. I've been watching football since I was 6 years old. I have never seen penalties called in a game like that.
Yeah.
And I don't get upset. That's not me. I'm yelling at the referee after the game because I was so mad.
Right.
They took it away from you guys.
So,
Right.
And called some of the mess they called in that game.
Right.
I don't know if there's ever been another 70-yard penalty
No, in the history.
in the history.
No, that's fact.
So what it was it only got marked off. The high got marked off because they were already a little past R50.
Yes.
But in actuality, they could have been on the 30.
The 30. Yeah,
and
yeah.
still would have ended up in that same spot.
Right.
Because it happened.
And so,
Okay.
but then when you go back and watch it,
'Cause that was
you watch
controversy.
the play, the dude threw the punch.
I know.
Yeah.
Hit our player.
Yeah.
Right.
Which incited
Yeah.
Right.
You can't come off the
everything
bench.
else.
Right.
And so, it was
was
terrible.
bad.
And we learned a lesson. He
Yeah.
learned a lesson. And so, and we don't have that problem no more.
There you go.
Guys learn because I think it was like 260 yards in penalties.
It was
to
20
it was-
penalties.
to like 30.
Yeah. I was
Like,
on the couch.
You
yards.
can't beat nobody. And we still had a chance to win.
Still had a
I know.
chance to
You
win
shouldn't
the
even
game.
be in the
I
game.
know.
Yeah.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dominated that game.
Who are some of the notables this season coming up that
As far as players?
just as
Yeah.
far as players?
Yeah.
Players,
You guys,
okay.
Yeah.
So we have, of course, Torrey Pittman,
Yeah.
who's
How's he doing?
ESPN 300, number
Yeah.
15 player in the country.
Yeah, I laugh because
2027.
I was in school with his daddy. And I
was
never
Central?
Make you feel
Central
old,
guy?
right?
I know.
Make you
Yeah,
feel
make me
old,
feel
right?
old.
Central guy?
Tori, yeah. Me and his dad were in school together in the same classes, and I feel
Right.
officially old.
Yeah, it makes you feel
So,
old.
yeah.
So the second.
Yeah, just to
So
hear that.
That's his dad is TP2.
Yep.
He TP3.
There you
Right,
go.
right.
And so he never used to say put the 3, but now it's, man,
No, you
don't
got
forget
to.
the 3.
Just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Jimmy
Don't
Butler the
forget the three.
third.
That's right.
That means something.
And so he's the guy, you got Caprice who transferred from
Right.
Bell West.
Yeah.
Right.
We've always knew
Yeah.
Caprice was a guy.
Yeah.
But now they going to see it.
Yeah.
They'll see it.
I understand.
Kylan Haney, of
Yep.
course.
Yep.
So those 3 are the power 4 guys we
Gotcha.
have on our team.
Gotcha.
But then we got other guys who work hard, especially line, Jerry Jackson.
Okay.
He is a dude.
Yep.
Like Aubrey transferred from Creighton Prep.
Yep.
So finally, all these guys played Little League with us.
Yeah.
Right? So a couple guys came home.
Yeah.
I like to say they came.
I got some
Yeah.
questions based
Yeah.
off that here in a second.
So
but
they came
I'm listening,
home.
I'm listening.
And now this thing is kind of coming together.
For sure.
Right? And so those are some of our guys. DeAnthony, another secondary guy. We got a real strong secondary in D-line and line. Yeah. And so we'll do some things
Contenders.
this year. Yes, without a doubt.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
How do you? One of the most frustrating things is when you get a good player, especially in one of the OPS schools. a lot of times they end up going to one of the Millard schools or whatever else.
Right.
How do you make
I was going down that rabbit hole.
sure those guys stay at home after they have shown that they can actually play well?
You know, it's kind of tough to make somebody do anything, right? And so, you know, guys, coaches, parents, other parents, get in these kids' DMs, start talking to these kids, make it sound good.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, can't nobody do what I do.
Yeah.
I really believe in that.
Right.
And I show it in action. You know what I mean? So it's like, just take Caprice. Caprice was at Bell West, got an Iowa State offer in the 9th grade as a freshman. And that was it. Since he been at Central, you know, I'm a stamp the envelope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to
No
make
doubt.
sure they know who you are, especially if you have the D1 measurements.
Right.
If you have D1 measurements,
There's
and
no
you
way
come
you
to
shouldn't be
Central,
recruited
I'm
D1.
sending you to college.
There you go.
Right.
Without a doubt.
There you go.
going D1.
Right.
There'll be nobody
Yeah.
that won't go D1
Right.
that come to Central with the measurements.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so
I like
when
that.
I see that, I know what it look like. Coaches know what I look like.
Yeah, you've been there,
I talk
played
to
it,
D1
lived it.
coaches every day.
Yeah.
They call me because I got product.
Right.
Right? That's like with anything.
Yes.
And so they going to call, checking on this. Oh, I
Right.
seen so-and-so over here, checking on that. And so to your question, I laugh because especially if you live in the area
Yeah.
and you supposed to be at Central.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't come in Central, it's laughable.
Right.
If you don't come to Central.
Right.
And not just because of what we doing in football, but the education,
Education
too.
you're going to get, no doubt.
And the connections you're going to meet.
Yeah.
I know.
Going to Central is almost to me like graduating from Nebraska and staying in Nebraska.
Yeah. No,
When you go to work,
No,
I know.
listen,
Not, and that's
see,
hard.
just, you
Very
you
true.
catch that judge, you
Yeah,
know.
I live it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Man, this is something I say all the time to people, and I stand by it. I am more proud to be a Central High School graduate almost than I am a Creighton Blue Jay graduate.
I feel it.
I say that all the time. And people you can't relate it unless you got something part of it.
That's right.
Yeah. So
I get that all the time. People
Yeah.
say, "Man, you act like you went to Central." I said,
Once you're a
you know
part
what
of
I
it.
say? I would have.
yeah.
If I was here,
Yeah.
my mama would have had me at
I
Central High
promise
School.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
You know, they opened Buena Vista, and
That's gonna be fun.
and we're right on the line between Central and Buena Vista. And my wife was like, "Oh no," she went to Bryan actually. She's South Omaha. She's like. The boys are going to Central. And I was like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I was like, don't worry about it. They're going to Central.
100%.
Yeah, she
That's
made sure
correct.
that was the case. Yeah.
I know, man.
Yeah.
I get jealous seeing the stuff because I follow the foundation on Facebook, and every week I look up. They got kids in Italy, kids in Germany.
That's where my son is right now. Yeah,
Oh,
he's in Germany right now.
Man,
Yeah.
listen, I gotta get
Heading to Austria tomorrow. I know.
Yeah.
He's going to Japan in 27.
Hey, thanks for letting me know.
No, I know. Hey, they need teachers. They need teachers to go along.
I need the help.
Yeah, no doubt.
I need some helpers, some volunteers out there. Yeah, man.
Right. Let's talk about OPS as a whole.
Yeah, let's rebuild that.
What are you, from your perspective, watching the last decade? I'm going to say last 2 decades. On top of the state of play today, what's the problem with Omaha Public Schools to where is it that our talent is not up to par with the other districts, or what is it?
So you say that, and it kind of go back to what Mike just asked right before that question. Guys going over here that live right here.
Right.
Going over there. Like if the people that went to North
Why are they leaving?
go to North, it sound better, for one. They make it sound good.
Yep.
2, they're winning right now. You know, and kids like to win
Yeah.
and want to be a part of winning,
True.
and they doing some good things.
Yeah, but is that the expense of them not going as far or achieving as much as they can though? You can win, but
like Prince. Prince stays at Central. He's the guy. He's getting bigger numbers. He goes to Millard South, Millard South, and he's good and he won a state championship, but he's not getting the numbers he would have
that's what I'm trying to say.
Where he was
That's how I see it. Just me.
Listen, I'm just going to be real with you.
Yeah.
Coming into that year, before he left, he was 55 on ESPN 300.
He was.
Was,
Yeah.
is the key word.
Yeah. That's facts. Dang, dude.
Yeah. He was supposed to be the Tory
that hit home
before Tory.
He was.
Right. And he was headed that way, and we was gonna make sure that he would got to where he needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just a part of what we do, right? And I don't know if it's done everywhere else in OPS.
It's an epidemic, man.
But I can tell you this. We got a good class that came in.
Mm-hmm.
That 27 class. It's the best in the state.
Mm-hmm.
We got some guys, right? And so parents are starting to understand and see, man, look what Central doing, man.
Right. Yeah.
And it's an easy sell.
Right.
Not one parent has turned down coming to Central because of academics.
Yeah. One thing I'll say to what you're saying that I appreciate, just being a Central alum. I mean, we all got ties to it as we hear, whether it's kids or coaching or actually went. Every other school don't got the pride that you got. I can't tell you that I can talk to another coach at a Benson or a Northwest or somewhere else and they speaking like you.
Yeah. It's tough for them.
So like it's an imbalance of excellence on the sports. I can't speak to academics. I don't want to. That ain't my wheelhouse.
Right.
But I think that also is a reason too. I don't know why Sean Prince transferred. Keep it real. I don't know. But overall, I think everybody can't speak like you about the schools they just can't.
Yeah. And it you know, it's kind of like the portal. You know what I mean? That's why there's thousands of kids in the portal. Yeah. Somebody told them, hey, man, they treating you wrong. You need to go in the portal. So-and-so will pick you up. They still in the portal.
Yeah.
Damn.
Or they go someplace and the grass is not greener.
What you thought, but I'm going to tell you this. Mm-hmm. Kids from all over the state call, DM, man, can you help me get recruited?
After, no matter where they at.
Boom.
Dang.
When all you really had to do
was just come.
You live down the street.
Yeah.
The whole time.
And it would have been on a platter.
Yeah.
Put you on a platter.
Yeah.
Where you want to go? Like Tory and those guys is these offers like, man, coach, you know what? I kind of like so-and-so. Boom, offer.
Yeah.
He going to get offered. Anybody he say he like, they got to offer him.
Last thing from me. When wet behind the ears, Damon Benning showed up in '92. What? Tell me about him when he got there. What was he like?
So Damon, that '92 class, that was a class too.
It was a good class.
That was Damon Clinton, Tommy Frazier.
Yeah, that was a really good class. Yeah.
That class came in too. So those classes were like stacked with just talented, tough-minded kids.
Right.
But no, Damon came in working, man. Like you had to work.
Yeah.
If you wasn't working back then, like what people don't understand that if we played in this day and age and was doing what we were doing, we had so many kids leave, but because we had so many outstanding kids that stayed, people didn't see the ones leaving.
Yeah, I was about to say.
People don't know how many people really left Nebraska that could have helped down the line, but couldn't play early as they wanted, left.
Sure.
Especially the running back room.
Yep. Yeah.
That room was crazy.
It was definitely a lot of
and so, Damon and them, man, working. And so that's why he was on the field playing, right? Whether it's punt return, kick return, eye back. Guys that came in that could play the game, understood what the coaching, mentally tough, physically tough, you were going to get on the field.
Yeah.
And so those guys you seen playing during that time, tough.
Yeah.
So everybody on the roster that didn't start or wasn't in the depth chart in the rotation could have started somewhere else?
A lot of people could have started somewhere else.
That's crazy.
Especially defensively.
Right.
Especially defensively. Because we had rotations defensively. Guys would just come in and it was just, man, it was, I know they hate the term war football and stuff, but at practice we had some wars. Like Wednesday's one-on-one day, strap up.
You couldn't miss a day. You got passed up.
Yeah. No, you get hurt.
Yeah.
And they find out.
Somebody else can ball?
Yep.
Dang, y'all was like that.
Start the weebacks. Calvin Jones, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Derrick Brown.
Yep.
Another Central Eye guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's our Calvin, Derrick Brown. I'm at the game. I was helping Derrick up.
Yeah.
He just got hit Kansas. I'm trying to help him up, and he's just like out of it.
Yeah.
And Calvin come in.
And Calvin went for like 230 or something like that. He's looking crazy.
He's still running.
Yeah, he's still running. Yeah. He said he set the Nebraska record. The one
Correct.
Burkhead broke.
Correct.
Yeah.
Off the bench.
Oh, Helu broke it. Yeah. Yep.
Off the bench.
He was off the bench. I didn't know
Off
that.
the bench.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
He
Man.
wasn't. He was going to play when the game was decided.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because Derek
Yeah.
was the starter.
And then he came in and decided. the
He
game.
did decide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Last for
So-
me is
Yep.
speak to the Boys and Girls Club. Like,
Yes,
Oh,
definitely.
man,
yeah,
that's-
what you got going? How long you been
man.
there? Just all that type of
Woo-wee.
stuff.
So I showed up in 2006 thanks to my buddy T-Mac. Kept telling me, man, you need to get down here with these kids. You need to get down
Coach
here
Mackey.
with these kids. Coach Mackey,
Yeah.
head coach
Yeah.
at Central. So let me tell you how it happened. I'm at a camp, Circle of Stars. Eric Anderson, GA son.
Yeah.
And so I'm helping him with his camp. And the camp is getting ready to start. My buddy Son Spurlock, who I didn't know at that time.
Spurlock.
Who I didn't know. Now the Central High guy. He come walking down the stairs with about 20 kids in a single file line.
That's what he
And they
did.
walking right behind him. I'm looking. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Looking at the kids. Here come this guy. They walk up. They take a knee with the other kids. And, man, when the camp started, they took over the camp. And I'm looking like, where these kids from? Went to talk to Son.
The club kids.
He said the Boys and
Girls
Club.
Club.
Look, I called T-Mac.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Dang.
And I was there that Monday
Wow.
volunteering.
Nice.
2006.
Just not at 5 a.m.
I would have been there. I was there
Yeah.
that Monday.
Wow.
Volunteered from 2006
Yeah.
to 2010.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Helping with program,
Yeah.
coaching football.
Yeah.
And then in 2010, opportunity came up. Dave Felici came to me, listen, man, we got, man, you here like you working.
Yeah.
Right? Because I just fell in love with them kids.
No
It
doubt.
reminded me of home.
Yeah.
Another instance of home.
In Omaha, Nebraska.
Tough-minded kids, athletic as all get out.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm looking at these kids like, man, they got some stars up in here that they don't know that just need some guidance.
Yeah.
Right? And so I've been there at the Boys and Girls Club since 2006.
That's crazy.
I'm working since 2010.
Yeah.
Right? And, man, I love it because they the generation of stars, man.
I know.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, it just
So them-
reminded me
them
of
guys-
when I was there.
Man, I hear about y'all all the time, Josh.
To this day?
To this day.
Wow.
You know T-Mac the historian.
Dang.
You know T-Mac talk about your class.
Yeah.
And then the next class he always talk about is that class with when they all played when it was DBJ,
Tradion.
that class.
No
Look
doubt.
what they did.
No doubt.
And so
Yeah.
it's classes of kids
Yeah.
that come through the Boys
Now
and
you
Girls
notice
Club.
the secret to success. My class stayed. We all went to Central.
I know.
That's how we won.
And then that class went to Central.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
We had a class went to Central, but then it got right. But that would have happened. Oh, without a doubt, I know it would have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If guys would have stayed at Central,
That's the formula.
that's correct.
Dang.
And so we working on that formula.
Yeah.
Look, I know,
Respect.
like always, they gave you guys a tough schedule. If there's a strength of schedule, you guys got one of the strongest strength of schedules. I looked at that. Just take care of business. Just take care of business.
You remember what Kylon said when he got up here last year?
What do you say?
You asked him about the regular season.
Yeah.
He said we won't lose another game.
Yeah.
We was 2-4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kylon said
Yep.
we won't lose
No,
another
he did.
game
Yep.
in the regular season.
Got to play.
And we had 3 straight ranked teams coming
Yep,
up.
right.
And I looked at it like, man, this dude.
Yeah.
Why would he give them ammunition
Yeah.
Yeah.
on a podcast that people watch?
Yep.
No
Take
doubt.
care of business.
And we took care of business.
That's all you got to do.
You that
That's
confident in this year's team?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I like
Yes,
it.
sir. We got some guys.
Let's
We
go.
appreciate it.
They're going to be
Thank you
proud
very
of what
much.
we do this year.
Thank you, man.
Without a doubt.
Abdul Muhammad, Omaha Central, and of course, former Nebraska Cornhusker as well. He'll let it flash. All right, thank you to Abdul Muhammad for coming on with us.
Passionate.
And hanging out. Yeah, passionate about Omaha sports, about Omaha Central, about Nebraska.
Yeah.
All of that. I love the fact that he got here and only took a small amount of time before he realized what it meant to be a Cornhusker.
Yeah.
When some random dude walked up to him and given him his stats from high
Man,
school.
I think that's to me, I think that's the epitome of my appreciation for the state of Nebraska.
Yeah.
I mean, the love that I still get here as a former player, man. People will run off what I did, when I did it, how I do it, and what it means to them. And so that's dope.
And remember, that was back in 1991.
I know.
There wasn't no Google.
I know.
There wasn't no Huskers Illustrated. I mean, it might have been Huskers Illustrated. But there was nothing like that. You had to you had to go find out stats about people.
That's powerful.
That's crazy.
But we've been the same since then.
Same since then. Next week on the show, by the way, Kevin Kugler, the voice of the College World Series Finals.
I haven't talked to him in a while.
Fox, NFL, all that. He's going to come in next week, and we'll chat with him about what's going on in his life. This is the only little break that he gets like all year long.
For sure.
Because he's called,
Don't he do that XFL?
He did. He did UFL.
UFL. I said XFL.
He was. They're like both sides of the league, but he was doing that. Obviously, he does college basketball. He does pro football, all of that. So he's always busy. So we'll catch with him during his little downtime next week on the show.
Okay.
Again, thank you to Abdul Muhammad for coming on with us. Thanks to Caleb for pushing all the buttons, getting everything working over there. Thanks to Dion from Stable Gray and Mike Allen as well, helping us produce this thing, of course. And a reminder, thank you very much to Bud Light, making things easy for you, easy to drink, easy to enjoy no matter what you're doing sports-wise. And a reminder, follow us on YouTube where you're watching this. Make sure you like and subscribe. Spotify, Apple, if that stuff's not working, we're just getting that stuff back up again because we had some issues with some passwords, so we're getting that up again. We'll have all that going as well. So we appreciate however you can listen. Please listen, subscribe, and like as well. Josh, take us home.
Hey, Josh Jones here with Michael Zavere. You know how we do it. It's a Let It Fly show.